Wow, what a crazy day. Have you been watching the trial, the George Floyd trial that's been going on right now? If you have, and you're like me, you've likely been triggered by at least one of the interviews by the witnesses taken on the stand or the videos, the pictures. It has been completely saddening, disgusting, angering. All the different emotions flow through you and they end up being triggers. Hi, everyone. My name is Melinda Van Fleet, and I'm a confidence and peak performance author, speaker, and coach. And my husband and I, we live in the Florida Keys, and we have a small business, Good Karma Sport Fishing, and we deal with triggers all the time. And when I started to realize what these triggers were and build awareness around them and started to bust them down, my life started to change. I kid you not. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a PhD. I'm not a trauma expert. I don't claim to be. I'm not trying to be. I'm just trying to be an average person sharing average tips. Tips that anyone can do. Because if I can do it, you can do it too. And these are things that I just learned maybe in the last 5 years or so. And I'm going to be 50 next week. So at any age, you can start to change, to build awareness, to create new habits, and push through nasty triggers that have probably been holding you back in your life energetically. And also just not felt so good, right? Because triggers then cause nasty, vicious mind loops. And none of that feels good. Triggers are often something that we don't like to talk about because yeah, it feels yucky, or it's embarrassing, humiliating, and you feel shameful. That is completely normal. And the more you start to become aware of your triggers and even have a conversation with somebody about them, the more you'll realize how normal they are. And they're here to show us a lesson. They're here to help us change and create positive behaviors so we can move forward in our lives and live our best lives. So in this little video, I just wanted to share my tips with you. They are simple tips, but not always easy. And you know why they're not always easy? It's because you have to freaking remember and you have to do them. No one really likes to do anything, right? I'd much rather just go to the bar. I'd much rather watch Netflix. I'd much rather just sit and stare at the wall. But when you do these things and you work on them, when you see something so awful, like the George Floyd trial, that probably makes you think of some other trials that have happened out there. We know this has been going on for a long time, all these different things that happen that are just very, very sad. You'll be able to start to move through them more easily. Number one, tip number one on moving through triggers is being aware. Please just practice being aware. Stop ignoring them and thinking they're just going to go away, because they're not. They're going to come back. They keep coming back and coming back and coming back. Sometimes the same thing, sometimes in another form. I used to be triggered so badly on social media. Oh my gosh, I could probably write a whole book on triggers for social media. I've been there, all of them. And once I started to realize where that stemmed from and why I was having those yucky feelings, I started to feel better. But I had to first become aware that social media was doing that to me and start to break down the why. So number one, be aware. And also recognize when you're becoming aware that there are so many reasons and you're not a bad person. Because that's where the shame and the embarrassment comes in, is people think, oh, I'm a terrible person because I felt this way. I'm terrible. I'm such a bad person. No, you're not, because everyone has something in some way, shape, or form. And it might not be social media, maybe it's something else. I'm just using that as an example, but it happens all the time. Number two, when you become aware of your triggers, sit with it. Give yourself grace. Give yourself some time. I had a situation where I was being very badly triggered by someone, and I couldn't think about why. I couldn't, I just couldn't, number one, bring myself to be thinking about it because it was making me more upset. But when I finally started to open my eyes around it, and I finally started to spend time thinking about it, I'd clear my mind a little bit, come back to it the next day. All of a sudden, one day it clicked on why I was triggered by her. It totally clicked. And it had nothing to do with her, nothing at all to do with her. It was my expectations of myself that I thought that I should be doing what she was doing by now. And I just wasn't. So I had to own that and start to put away my own ego and move through those triggers. And number three, as you're doing these, just take the deep breaths. Take the deep breaths. There is so much information out there on breath work that you can dive in and learn further, but I'm just going to approach this from the average Joe. You know what? If I can remember to sit, close my eyes, take 3 deep belly breaths and count to 4 in between. Some people say 3, some people say 4, some people say 6. Pick a number. I say 4. And just give myself that grace and that time to settle up, shake up the energy, change it around. You will be so surprised at how good you feel just by breathing. And it's free. It's free. It's part of our lives and we ignore it. We ignore this amazing tip because I'm sure some of you sitting at home watching this video are rolling your eyes like, oh yeah, breathe. I've heard it before. But are you doing it? That's the thing. Not everyone's doing it. So there's people that aren't aware of it. Number one, that breathing is a really, really amazing tool to help you shift your energy and move through something like triggers. Or you have and you're not doing it. Or number three, you are doing it. So kudos to you. And please share with other people. The more people you can help, the better. So just sit, breathe, try to bring awareness to what the trigger is, and then think about why. Think about why. And once you start to recognize why, you'll be able to move through it. You'll be able to push through it. It might take some work, it might take some time. So, again, give yourself grace because you are not alone with dealing with triggers. You are not alone. So, give yourself some grace, give yourself the time. And then the more you get used to busting through your triggers, shifting your energy, shifting your mindset, you will be amazed at what starts to happen. Things will start to manifest for you because your energy is different. Things are starting to happen. People will come into your life, or people will be like, hey, who's this new person who's not so grouchy anymore, who's not angry, who's not ripping on someone, who's not judging them, who's not talking about them behind their back. So do those 3 tools. They're super easy. And if you remember to do them, I promise you, you will start to see some changes and shifts. So I hope this video helps. Please share with a friend if they need to hear it. Imagine if everyone shared something today, how awesome this world would be. So thank you again, Melinda Van Fleet, and my information is in the comments. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you.